What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors because it seems like they have found a sniper and Joe Wieskamp. Now, obviously, the Raptors have struggled from the three-point line, and Joe Wieskamp is a three-point specialist. And I'm going to be breaking down his game for you guys in today's video, as well as discuss some of the needs he fills for the Toronto Raptors. I'm also going to be discussing in the second half of this video some rumors surrounding Og Anunoby and potentially what the Raptors could look for in a return if they look to move Og Anunoby. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to Kevin Schindler. So Kevin, thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now let's talk about Joe Wieskamp. For those who may not be familiar with him, he is listed as a guard slash forward. He's 6'6", 205 pounds. He's also 23 years old, so he's very young. We still got time to develop in the NBA. He was playing in the G League before the Raptors decided to sign him to a 10-day contract. And after that 10-day contract, they decided to sign him to a second 10-day contract. Now, he did get some playing time with the Toronto Raptors against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, this is big because anyone who doesn't follow the Toronto Raptors, you have to realize that Nick Nurse does not like to play his bench guys. Not only does he not like to play his bench guys, he is very stingy with how he hands out minutes. So for someone like Joe, who was able to sign with the Raptors who attended, for him to get a decent amount of 11 minutes playing time with the Raptors is huge. Obviously, he's doing something right in practices, which finally got Nick Nurse to play him, and he did not disappoint. He ended the night 3 of 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from the three-point line, and finished with 9 points in 11 minutes, which is really good because we know the Raptors have some needs they need to fill out, and it seemed like Joe could be potentially the sniper they're looking for. Now, I think it's no hidden secret when I say this, the Raptors have been one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the entire NBA. In fact, when you take a look at the statistics here, you will notice that they are almost 0.1 away from being the worst three-point shooting team in the entire NBA, just above Charlotte's Hornets for the time being, but they're not a good three-point shooting team. It doesn't help that Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have constructed this team full of 6'8", 6'9" guys that aren't necessarily strong three-point shooters, but then throw on top of that, that the best three-point shooters, three players, I'm going to be talking about Og Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., who are supposed to be the Raptors' best three-point shooters, have struggled a bit from the three-point line, and that is a recipe for disaster in 2023 when you have guys that cannot hit the three-point shot. Now, I'm not going as far as to say that Joe Wieskamp can be the solution to the Raptors' three-point shooting, but he could definitely be someone that could come out the bench and provide a little bit, not only three-point shooting, a little bit of floor spacing and some point production as well. The Raptors bench in total this season has not provided a lot of points, which has resulted in Nick Nurse playing a lot of minutes for the starters. And also the Raptors do need some floor spacing because they have guys like Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes who like to operate in the paint. So naturally, you want to surround your two best players with floor spacers, and Joe Wieskamp could potentially be that guy for the Toronto Raptors. Now, besides being the obvious that could be a key piece for the Raptors off of the bench, there are a few other things that Joe Wieskamp really provides for the Raptors. When you take a look at the Raptors depth chart, there's no one really behind Og Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. to kind of fill in that small forward slash shooting guard role. The Raptors have guys they like to play in Precious Achiuwa, they like to play Chris Boucher, and then they like to throw out different matchups like Christian Koloko, or they'll throw out Juancho Hernan-Gomez, but it seems like they're going positionless, so they don't really have a small forward or a shooting guard they'd like to throw out there. And it doesn't help that the Raptors have not been playing Thaddeus Young, who could play both of those positions. So here comes in Joe Wieskamp. He could fit in with the Raptors and provide some quality minutes. He can come in, play the shooting guard position. He can come in, play the small forward position, and he's got good size. He's 6'6", which makes a big difference for the Toronto Raptors because obviously you need tall defenders. Even though he may not be the greatest defenders, I think as a three-point shooter in the NBA, anytime you're taller than your average NBA player, it definitely makes a big difference. Now, personally, what impressed me the most about Joe Wieskamp is coming into the game. Like, he wasn't getting a lot of touches. The Raptors weren't doing a lot to get him involved in the game, and I believe, in fact, for the first 3 or 4 minutes he was in the game, he did not even touch the ball once, yet he got the ball from Pascal Siakam. It was kind of an awkward pass, and he made the shot very nicely. And I'm not comparing the two players, but he reminds me a little bit of Duncan Robinson. I know it's probably not the best comparison given where Duncan Robinson is in his career right now, but he's that guy who's 6'6". He's almost got the same type of shot release as Duncan Robinson as well. A much cheaper option, obviously. Again, I don't want to emphasize too much on this signing. It is a 10-day contract, but the Raptors desperately need three-point shooting. They need bench production. They need someone to play the small forward shooting guard position. And obviously you want to space the floor a little bit with guys like Pascal, with guys like Scotty Barnes as well. And he could be someone you could play off the bench. Now, I really like what Nick Nurse did in terms of having a lot of floor spacers together when you did see Pascal on the floor or when you did see Scotty on the floor. There's a point where he played Juancho Hernan-Gomez, he played Gary Trent Jr., he played, I believe, Joe with them as well. And obviously having that many shooters around those guys makes a big difference. So again, I'm not going to emphasize too much on that, but he could potentially be a really good signing for the Raptors. Again, let's see what happens. Maybe we'll see if he plays well in the next game. We'll see if he even gets minutes, but it is a make or miss league, and the Raptors have been missing so many three-pointers. But one thing that Joe did not do was miss any of his three-point shots. So again, we'll see what happens. Nice signing for the Raptors. Hopefully he gets more opportunities down the road. Let's see what happens. He played well. He definitely deserves a lot of minutes. But I wanted to talk about Og Anunoby and some of the trade rumors that came out yesterday as well. Now, this was tweeted out by NBA Central yesterday, which was reporting that it would take at least two promising players on team-friendly deals and a pick to pry Og Anunoby away from Toronto. Now, people have to remember the Raptors have no incentive to trade Og Anunoby. He's on a team-friendly contract. He's 25 years old. He's also a really good player who's still not a finished product. So the Raptors don't necessarily have to trade him. But obviously, Og Anunoby is someone, if you were to put him on any team across the league, he would fit on almost every single team. He's one of those players you can play in the small forward position. You can play him at the shooting guard position. You can play him at the power forward position. So again, I understand where the Raptors are coming from in terms of what they want from Og Anunoby. Is the asking price incredibly high? Yes, it is. But it's also, you've got to realize that it's one of those things. The Raptors don't wish to trade Og Anunoby. So if I have something that I don't wish to give away, you'd have to pay me extra to make sure I give you that thing, right? So again, it's one of those things. I also want to touch on one more thing, guys, about this Og Anunoby rumor. I find it very odd that a lot of these Og Anunoby rumors are coming out. I know a lot of Raptors players in general have had trade rumors come out. But one thing I will say before people say it's fake news or it's false rumors, it's one of the things we've not heard about a lot of is two guys, Pascal and Scotty, and there must be a reason. So again, I'm going to go back on what I spoke about Og Anunoby in a few videos ago where I said maybe, perhaps, he's one of those players that is not happy on the Raptors with his role. Again, I'm going to keep going back on this because I find it very odd that these rumors keep coming out. I mean, you think about the Raptors. If they were to trade a player, it would not be Og Anunoby. It would be Gary Trent Jr. It'd be Fred VanVleet before Og Anunoby. So why is it that the Raptors or these rumors keep coming about Og Anunoby and these potential deals and what it would take to pry him away from the Raptors? Now, honestly, I truly believe the reason that this is happening is when you look at the roster construction, obviously the Raptors need to have some shooters in their starting lineup. So they obviously realistically want to keep at least one of Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet. Now, in terms of building around your core guys, you need at least three guys to build around. And naturally, that would be Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Og Anunoby. But it does seem like they not exactly, they kind of overlap in terms of skills. I know Og Anunoby is a better three-point shooter than Pascal and Scotty, but it just seems like Og Anunoby is never going to reach his full ceiling here, especially with Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam having a very high usage rate and being I wouldn't say ball dominant, but also you've got to realize they have the ball in their hands quite a bit. So it's going to be difficult for Og Anunoby to develop here. Maybe, again, I'm just assuming, perhaps there have been conversations with Og Anunoby and the management talking about how he's not happy with his role. So again, this is just my assumption based off of what these rumors have been coming out about Og Anunoby. To me personally, it makes no sense at all that the Raptors would want to deal Og Anunoby, but obviously this is obviously to take into consideration that the Raptors' future salary cap situation as well. They're going to have to pay Gary Trent Jr., Fred. One of them is going to get paid. The Raptors aren't necessarily going to move both of those guys. Then you have the Pascal Siakam extension this summer, and then you're going to have to save some money for Scotty Barnes in the future, which makes sense. So then Og Anunoby is the odd man out, and then obviously you want friendly deals which stretch out 2 to 3 years, which makes it a little bit easier to re-sign guys and pay them as well. So again, these are just my thoughts on these. I find these Og Anunoby rumors very, very odd. I don't think the Raptors should trade him, but we never know. We'll never know what happened. Let's see what happens. We still have a little bit of ways to go before the NBA trade deadline. let's see what happens. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts, not only on Og Anunoby. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about Joe Wieskamp as well. Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question is, which NBA team has the highest three-point percentage? Since we're talking about three-point shooting, let's talk about which team is the best at three-point shooting percentage-wise. Is it A, the Suns? Is it B, the Nets? Is it C, the Warriors? Or is it D, the Nuggets? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for supporting this channel with your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. And I wish you guys have yourselves a great day.